Serving home cooking, Jack's Barcelona Drive-In, 8249 First Street, Westfield. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner by beautiful Lake Erie in a summer cottage atmosphere with local wines and beers available. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Bella Salon and Day Spa, located at 41 West Main Street in Northeast Pennsylvania, proudly supports Chautauqua Sunrise and its volunteers. More information at bellasalonanddayspa.net. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. From the Access Channel 5 studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Channel 5. Continuing the traditions of Senior Report, we are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week, countywide, from 9 to 10 a.m. Join us by calling in live, emailing us, or checking out our social media. And now, from the Channel 5 studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning. I'm still bopping with the beat of the music. It's another great Saturday morning here in Chautauqua County. I'm Doc Hamels, and you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. This is the beginning of another great month of programming, and we've got some really terrific shows for you this month, and today's going to be no exception whatsoever. So stay tuned. As I always say, grab a cup of coffee or get your breakfast, come up to the TV and watch with us. I also want to remind you that we are going to be broadcast on WRFA Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, and want to say hello to all our friends in Jamestown, Dennis, Drew, and the gang, and Jason Sample. Okay, we got a lot of things to talk about today, but before we get into the announcements, I just want to share a few things. Boy, we had a lot of fun. We being the Barcelona Blues Band last night, we were playing at the gazebo in the McClurg Park, or over the McClurg Mansion, Moore Park, by the McClurg Mansion in Westfield for their first Friday. And I just want to do a shout out to my band members. They're probably watching, but a little embarrassed, but don't be embarrassed. They did a great job last night. Our vocalists were Diane Scarpine and Barb Johnson. They did a really nice job. Rick Matthews from Matthews Jewelry there, he played harmonica. He plays a very, very bluesy harmonica. We call that a harp player. Jim Scrivens was playing on bass. He relinquished his position as a lead guitarist and moved over to bass and let me jump in on a guitar, and I thank him for that. Dick Davies has played drums, Kelly Matthews, keyboards, and of course our fearless leader, Rick Mascaro, plays trumpet. And it was just a lot of fun playing all kinds of different styles of blues, for anywhere from Dixieland to Stevie Ray Vaughan. We were all over the place. We're going to be there every first Friday of the month. Well, July is a little different because of the 4th of July, so it'll be actually the second Friday of the month, but June 10th, I believe it is. But anyways, come out to the parks. Come out to the various venues in Chautauqua County, including Westfield. If you can't find music that's live in Chautauqua County, you are either dead or you're in a comatose state, because there's music like every night of the week somewhere. You've seen folks like Bill Ward, Sandy Rayner, our booking agent, the talent agent to the stars. She's got bands all over the place all the time. We've Ken Hardley was on the show. He's playing all over the place. Myself, just all kinds of people everywhere in the county. It's come alive. As soon as June hits, it seems like the guitars, the instruments, keyboards, drums, everybody pops up and we're out and playing. So get out there, enjoy the music. Lots of it's free, lots of it's out in parks and venues that you can enjoy. The weather's really turned out quite nice. We hit our low spot of cold, and again, it was one of those days where you could get frostbite and sunstroke all in the same day, but we're out of it again, and boy, are the flowers awesome. The birds are great. Saw a little yellow warbler I hadn't seen in a long time at the house the other day. Hummingbirds are back. I've been taking their pictures and all those sorts of things, and it's just smells good out there right now, doesn't it? So get out there and enjoy the weather. I want to thank folks that I've run into lately that have paid compliments to the show. They're enjoying our guest speakers and the format of the show, and thank you. I appreciate that. We can't do it without your support and without the support of our underwriters that you see at the very beginning of the show, and of course the willingness of our guests to come on here. I want to also remind you that this is a live show. It's a call-in show, and if this is your first time joining us, you can call us at 753-5225. You can Twitter us, you can email us, you can get on Facebook, and they will relay the information to me through my little iPad here or into my earpiece here, because I do hear voices in my head. And you can call us and ask a question of myself, our guest. If you have a birthday anniversary of your I want to say agency, it could be agency. If you have your organization has a special event coming up, a fundraiser or whatever, give us a call. It's free. We're happy to share that information with you. One of the things right off the bat I want to remind you, our friends are all coming back from around the world at Chautauqua Institution as we speak. And the Westfield Memorial Hospital asked me to remind you that there is a health clinic on the grounds. So if folks like myself, we're locals, we visit the day, and for whatever reason we trip, fall, get hurt, don't feel well, you don't have to run off the property. You can go right to the clinic, and the information is right there at the grounds, and they can steer you right over to it. I understand it's a little tricky to find because signs are kind of limited there, but the Westfield Memorial Hospital Health Clinic is there for you and for the folks that are there throughout the summer. Also, I want to remind you that next Saturday, Chautauqua Historical Society is having their big fundraiser, and including all around the McClure Mansion that day and weekend is the Civil War enactment group that's going to be there. Going to be great fun, and I once again have been honored to been asked to come back and play again. I'll be solo this year, and I'll be doing Irish and American folk songs. So that's cool. It's a little steep. It's $50 a person, but it's all for the Historical Society. They have great food. Music's pretty good too, and if you haven't been there, it's a great opportunity to explore the McClure Mansion. Okay, I got some other announcements, and then we're going to take a break. So here we go. Lots of stuff to talk about today. Let me get my glasses out here so I can make sure I get this right. Okay, Bemis Point Library. They are having their Labor Day bicycle raffle. There it is. And the tickets are $1 a piece or 6 for $5. And if you're interested, it's going to be held on Labor Day weekend, so get out there and support your local library. It looks like a pretty cool bike. Okay, June 6th, we have a gift and gun raffle at the Westfield Moose Lodge. That's like today, isn't it? Today's 6th? Yeah, it's today. So that's from today from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So get out there. Our friends were just on the show a few weeks ago, and Moose Club does a lot of great work. Okay, moving along, June 12th. Community Action Program, Janet McDermott and folks, they are opening up their new facility in the Dunkirk, Fredonia area. It's at 40 East Main Street in Fredonia, New York. And that grand opening is from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And they were on the show as well. And as you know, I'm really strong on this issue. Children need to be safe, and if children aren't safe, that are feeling violated or anything else, and as you can see on the news these days, even famous people that are on reality TV, they have issues in their families. So if someone is being abused, check these folks out. They will help you. They will help your family to get the help that your child needs. Okay. Moving up the next day, June 13th, that would be Saturday. Okay, my dear friends are at the Children's Safety Education Village are having their Dash and Bash, and that will be the 13th, and that starts at various times. They have a 1K walk, 5K walk, and a bike tour all over the place. And they will be having refreshments and that sort of thing afterwards. And it's a great time. I'll be doing the 1K walk only because the show is running at the same time as the 5K walk. Okay, and other information, we've got Infinity Visual Performing Arts will be hosting the June installment of Pulse Poetry Slam on Saturday, June 13th. That would be next Saturday at 6:30 p.m. And as you know, that those are our kids, aspiring musicians. Nope, not that one. No, not that one either. I don't think we have a slide for this. No, not that. What is going on in there? Okay, it was nice seeing everybody. You. What's going on? Okay, we got spooks here. The installation of the event will celebrate the 1-year anniversary of its founding. Technical mice. It will feature both poetry and live music that day. The event is free, family-friendly, and open to the public right there at the Infinity at their new facility. Performance poetry is an excellent way to express creativity while practicing performance and public speaking. Poets, audience members are welcome. Continuing on with the idea that I mentioned about the Chautauqua Historical Society, they're inviting residents and supporters of local history to attend this summer's gala fundraiser on June 13th in Westfield. The annual event will take place from 6 to 8 p.m. at the historical McClurg Mansion in Moore Park, and that's located at the corner of Routes 394 and 20 in the village. Highlighting this year's gala will be the appearance of Alonzo Cushing Medal of Honor, and we've talked about that with John Wolfe, which was posthumously awarded, that's hard to say in the morning, to the former Fredonia resident and Gettysburg hero late last year. The medal will be on display inside the museum on the second floor beginning June 13th and continuing until September 8th. Anyone wishing to view the medal can do so free of charge. The fundraiser and gala event from 6 to 8 p.m. will be $50 per person, and all proceeds going to support the McClurg Museum operations and all volunteer organization. Also, the Chautauqua Historical Society would like to invite you, the public, to its next upcoming speaker program. Niagara Falls researcher and regional historian John Slater will present Pioneer Winemakers of Chautauqua County on Wednesday, June 17th at 6 p.m. at Westfield's Grape Discovery Center, and we talk about them all the time. Christine McCain was on not too long ago over on Route 20. In addition to the speakers, the Society's annual summer picnic will also take place. There's no cost, but everyone who attends is encouraged to provide a dish to pass, beverages, and complimentary serving of Swedish meatballs will be also provided. As a result, attendees are asked to RSVP by 5 p.m. Thursday, June 11th. Whew, one more here to go. Chautauqua County Music Teachers Association. This is a new one. Annual Spring All-County Concert. Tomorrow. The event, no, wait a minute. It says Saturday, June 7th. Today, so that's Saturday, June 6th. I only read what they write. At 7:30 tonight at Chautauqua Institution at the amphitheater, and will feature the county's best student musicians from 20 school districts located in Chautauqua County. In any one of the several school music ensembles. Featured in this festival are the elementary, junior high, and senior high all-county choruses and the junior and senior high all-county bands. I've had the opportunity to see this show, and it is absolutely fantastic. So that's coming up today. And I got one more thing, and then we got a special guest that just arrived here. We're going to talk with him for a minute, and then we're going to get on to our scheduled guest. I want to just give a shout out to the Westfield Mayville Rotary Club. They are doing some great work today at the Boy Scout camp, Immerse Camp here in Mayville. They're working right now as we speak. I was there earlier with a few other folks. They're building platforms for the Boy Scout tents so that the kids have something to put their cots on. So they're doing some hard work, a lot of lifting, a lot of cutting of wood and drilling and so forth. Just entered into the studio as we speak. Our good friend Galen Zook is here, and he wants to talk all about what's coming up on June 27th. I got that right. So Galen, what's going on? And you were on the show a while back when we had Steve Gustafson here, and now you're going to give us one more shot. What's going on?
It's kind of hard to believe that the ride's only 3 weeks away. They opened registration in December of last year, and myself and Randy and my brother Jeff, been hard collecting money, out asking people for sponsors. Yeah, I've reached my goal, but Randy and Jeff, they still need some help.
What was your goal?
My goal was $3,500.
You raised $3,500?
I'm actually up to 36, just
Awesome.
about 3,600.
Well done.
Jeff and Randy are pretty close, but they could still use some donations.
Okay.
But yeah, it's looking to be an exciting weekend. Kelly Pickler is going to be there for the opening ceremony, giving a concert, and I think she may even be I don't know who the keynote speaker this year is. Mm-hmm. But there's the celebration the night before, and then the dozen or so different length rides coming up.
Mm-hmm. And how long is your ride going to be?
Myself and Randy and Jeff are all doing a 44-mile ride that starts at Roswell, goes over the Peace Bridge into Canada, down Niagara Boulevard all the way to the Rainbow Bridge, and then ends at UB.
Now, Randy said he's going to do his starting that Saturday morning, and he'll be ending like Wednesday, I think. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that might be about right.
This is all in one day, right? 44 miles?
Yeah, actually,
Sounds like
actually we have
long.
about, our ride starts at 7 in the morning. We have 3.5 hours to make it to the Rainbow Bridge. They're going to have a designated lane open for the ride, but if you're not there before 10:30, you get to go through with traffic.
Okay, and we hope you're going to give us a call in that day. I remember Randy called in after a quarter mile and says, I went tired, gotta have a drink. So no. We're just kidding. But you did call in, and I know you were getting kind of winded there. But
Yeah, I won't remember.
okay, so before you go, tell us how people can donate.
You can go to, there's a website, it's rideforroswell.org, and you can click on the donate button and it'll bring up a search out a rider, and you can put Randall, he's under Randall Burt, and my brother's under Jeffrey Zook. Please donate to them, don't donate to me. I don't need any more donations. It's kind of interesting. This week I raised a little over $100, and I asked one person for money. It was everybody that's been promising me in the past that they were going to give me money. They finally started giving me the money. So, search for Randall Burt or Jeffrey Zook, and just whatever you want to give. I know personally I never ask for a certain amount of money. I leave it up to the person donating the money to what they want to give, and I think that it's a way of just being a little more sensitive to a person that, some people can't really afford a whole lot, but
right,
every
$5,
single
$10, whatever, yeah,
every single dollar counts. I just got a donation, had to go get blood drawn down in Westfield, and one of the girls that works there I went to school with, she handed me $4. This is all I got. I'm like, okay.
Awesome. That's what it takes. Okay.
$4 is $4, and with grants and matching donations, that for each dollar that is donated turns into $13.
That's great.
So there's a lot of, that's a good return on anybody's money.
Right.
In anything. Give a dollar, you get 13 back. And it goes for such a great cause.
Okay.
Roswell is one of the leading cutting-edge research facilities in the country, and just if you're interested about Roswell too, you just they got a website. Go to the website.
Okay.
And check out what they do. They're a wonderful organization. I've heard very few bad things about it.
All right. Galen, thanks for dropping in. We got to move on here.
Yep,
that was
no
Galen
problem.
Zook, and him and his brother Jeff and their sidekick Randy Burt will be out there riding for Roswell. And as you all know, I don't think there's a family in Chautauqua County that doesn't have a member that hasn't been affected by cancer. We're going to take a breather, and we're going to have a public service announcement right now, and then we're going to get right on to our show. So stay tuned. Thank you. And now, for a public service announcement.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. resume. Not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and I help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
And there you go. Well, welcome back. I'm Doc Hamels. You are watching Chautauqua Sunrise. I want to give you a quick reminder. You can call in at 753-5225. Twitter us, tweet us, whatever it is you want. Get a hold of us if you have a question, comment, whatever. Okay, today we're going to be talking about solar energy. We're going to talk about some cool stuff. This whole show started with my brother a couple of years ago. I know, it seems like a kind of a strange way to start the show here, but he got involved with a company called Solar Liberty and got some solar cells on his house, and we've been talking about it forever, it seems. And so I checked it out, and I gave them, actually I got on their website, filled out some information, and the next thing I know, Ryan Calalesina was here with me at my show, and here we are. So good morning, Ryan, and how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. Glad you could make it. Ryan, I know that you're with Solar Liberty, and it's a growing company, but we always like to know a little bit about our guests. So tell us a little bit about Ryan.
I'm actually a local from Chautauqua County. I grew up in Lakewood. And I guess funny enough, the owners of our company are actually from Jamestown as well.
And they are who?
Adam and Nathan Rizzo.
And they, how long ago did they leave the county?
Adam left to go to UB Law School.
Okay.
They both left for college. Started the company in 2003. So they've been out of Chautauqua County for a little bit now, but we've been in business for about 12 years. So
you're from Chautauqua County still?
No, I live in Hamburg now.
Oh, so
I moved up there as well, but we do a lot of work down here, so I'm in Chautauqua County.
So how'd you get it
twice a week?
So Chautauqua County kid, Chautauqua County guys, how did you get hooked up with the Rizzos?
Luck. I feel blessed every day that they gave me an opportunity to do this job and be able to make a difference. But they gave me a shot almost 5 years ago, and it's been history ever since. So it's been great.
Okay, there's a lot going on out there in the world about renewable energy and lots of advertisements you see on TV and the newspapers and that. We're going to focus on solar energy today. We'll chat a little bit about other things maybe later, or if someone has a question or two. But solar energy comes from the sun. Pretty simple. All right, it's renewable every day. And people built contraptions, they heated water with it, they heat air with it. We're not talking about that.
No.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about what's considered photovoltaics, which is solar electricity. So electricity made from the sun, which the solar panel does for us. So it's it can be residential, it can be commercial. Regardless, the solar panel takes the sun's energy and produces electricity from it, and then feeds your home or your building and for whatever your needs may be.
So for people that may or may not be familiar with solar cells and so forth, what is a solar cell?
There's a few different types of technology. Typically, what we're using today is what's considered it's a silicon-based cell.
Okay.
So silicon is an element. It's a semiconductor by nature. They're able to dope it negatively and positively in the different layers of the silicon in the factory. When they put it together and the sun's energy hits it, the negative and positive react to each other and create a current.
All right, and so when the sun touches, shines on the cell, it's pulling in this solar energy. It's invisible, and so where does all that go?
Well, it creates it creates an excited state in the cell. It produces a current. There's typically soldering lines up and down the face of the solar panel that allow the electricity to flow throughout the panel. The panels are then connected to each other, which allows the electricity to flow through the system, and eventually it makes it into your home.
Okay, I'm going to tell a funny little story. I think I shared this with you one day when you were up to the house. When I was teaching, I used to teach science, and I really, really wanted to get into solar energy. And this was back 20 years ago, maybe. And I talked my boss into letting me buy a solar cell for my classroom. And long story short, I had the wires on the back of the solar cell, and I was going to do an experiment outside with the kids. And so I'm carrying this thing, plus a bunch of books and things like that, and I go outside, and one of the wires was bouncing around, so I started to use my mouth as a third hand, you know what I mean? And just as I hit the sunlight, I connected the circuit, and I was I was shocking myself with this little solar cell, and it was like real. All of a sudden, solar energy was very real to me. And kids nowadays, we got these little flower pots that do all these little things, or kinds of solar collector things. But we're talking big time here, right? How big are these solar cells?
Well, the cells themselves aren't that big, but there's a series of them that are on a panel. A panel is typically, and they make them at all different sizes depending on what manufacturer, but typically about 3.5 feet by 5.5 feet per panel.
Okay, now people are watching right now and they're going, what's the big deal? Solar energy, it's a bunch of hoo-ha. Why would any one of us, now you're like the face of your company, you're the guy who goes out and talks to people, so convince me right now, why would I even be interested in solar energy? Let's just start with conceptually, why?
Typically people get into it for one of two reasons. One is it's a renewable energy. It's green. It's good for the environment. The other reason is cost savings. So, with what you're doing currently, paying an electric bill month after month after month, that never stops. You pay whatever the utility company wants you to pay. With a solar system, there's always going to be a payback. And if we can cover all of your electric usage by putting solar panels on your house, it may be a 4 or 5 or even up to 7 or 8 year investment for you, or payback period. But at some point, you recoup your investment on that, and then everything else after that is free electricity that you're getting that you no longer have to pay the utility company for.
Now, it's 2015, and I'm going to guess in maybe 5 more years, we're not going to even have this conversation, that people are going to have some type of renewable energy somewhere incorporated in their homes. That's my prediction, because I think it's coming. But right now, we all have electricity, and we're going like, well, what's the big deal? We already got electricity. We don't need electricity. The sun's out there, but the electricity that comes in our homes now is made at some place that uses coal and other things, right?
Sure.
And that is not a renewable resource.
It's not, and I think that the further we get into this business, the more people kind of open their eyes and say, it just makes more sense to produce electricity from the sun's energy rather than burning something and polluting our environment.
We always think of Niagara Falls. The water falls, it turns a turbine, and that makes electricity, but that's not producing enough electricity for the whole area, right?
That's a good question, but I think that a lot of that electricity gets shipped off other places.
Okay. In the world that we live in now, we are trying to become independent from oil manufacturers, from what I call raping the earth by digging out coal and making a mess of things. This would seem like something that would be a good thing.
Yeah, and you'd think that it'd really just kind of be a no-brainer. Again, the sun's not going away.
If it does, we're in trouble, I believe. So, why has the world been resistant to just embracing something like solar or wind power? What's the problem?
I think that some of it, obviously, everything has to do with politics, but I think that a lot of it had to do with cost until the recent, the past 5-7 years. The cost of a solar panel was so expensive that it would have never made sense, and you would have never gotten your money back out of it.
So it's really not any different than cell phones. Before they were so expensive, and now people can buy one for like $30. Not necessarily an iPhone, but the technology's been coming down, right?
Yeah, and just even in the past, I want to say the past 3 years, the cost of a solar panel is reduced by about 80%. We've really started to pay off the research and development that goes into to manufacturing them, into making the panels. So we're seeing much better costs, and it's getting much more competitive. So. Back in the 70s, they were selling solar panels for somewhere around $70 a watt that you had installed. Today, a typical price is probably somewhere around $3.25 a watt. So you can see, over the course of a average size system at about 7,000 watts, there's a huge difference in cost from back then to now, and the technology has gotten better, and it continues to improve slowly but surely. So we've got a bright future.
Great. Hold that thought. Folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm Doc Hamels, and my guest is Ryan Calalesina, and we're talking about solar energy, and he'll be referencing the company he works for, Solar Liberty, as well. If you have a burning question, give us a call and ask Ryan whatever you want to ask him. Okay, Ryan, if someone's interested in solar energy, and I know the guys and Jeff and those guys, they've been talking your ear off because we're really into that here. Where do we start? How do we get a hold of a company like yours?
Well, first, to get a hold of Solar Liberty, we've got a website. I can give you a phone number, but it's solarliberty.com.
Okay, that's pretty easy.
And you can check us out on the web. And there's a lot of kind of question and answer type of stuff on there. There's galleries of residential and commercial installations that we've done. A lot of information about us, and we're highly qualified to be your solar installer. We're actually the largest solar installer in New York State, and really been at this for longer than most people in the state.
Okay. All right, so they get to your website, then what?
If you're interested in a free evaluation, it doesn't cost you anything to find out what solar would cost at your home. So there's a form that you can fill out. Just give us your name, address, phone number, a way to get a hold of you. We'll give you a call. We'll request a copy of an electric bill or your electric usage throughout the year.
Can they call you?
Yeah, they can call me directly.
What would the
number be? It is 634-3780, and we're just out of Williamsville, New York.
634-3780. 80. Okay.
Yep. And you'll probably get in touch with an inside sales rep. He'll go over some information with you. Look at your house on satellite first to see if we can qualify your house for solar.
All right. What does that mean? Look at your house on satellite. I mean, people are like, Big Brother's watching me. Yes, they're watching you.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of different technologies out there, but yeah, we can see your house on satellite. We can see what direction the house faces, what the pitch of the roof is. If there's any shading obstructions, it's obviously not going to work very well if you're in the middle of the forest. So first we want to qualify your house as.
So don't waste your time if they're in the middle of the woods.
You know what? We always say don't disqualify yourself. If you have questions about it, just give us a call. It'll take us less than 5 minutes to tell you whether or not this is going to work for you.
Right.
And if you have a roof that's not going to work, but you own a lot of land, we can always put the panels on the ground. So there's typically an option that we can try to give everybody. But if it's not going to work for you, we'll be very upfront and honest with you and let you know that this isn't isn't good for you.
You look at their house online, and I don't even remember all the websites. I know you even go to real estate sites and you just Google in your house, and the next thing you know, you're looking at the top of your house. I've seen my house many a times, and it's always interesting to see what I've added or what time of year it is. Or I've had that car I haven't had that car in 3 years, so I know the picture's getting dated. Yeah. All right, so then what happens?
From there, we'll try to size the system for you. So if you have a roof that's going to work, and typically we're looking for a southern exposed roof. We can use east and west. We can never use a north facing roof.
Why is that?
Because where we are on Earth, the sun is always to our south. So a north-facing roof is never going to get enough sunlight for, and really what qualifies and disqualifies is whether or not you're going to qualify for New York State's incentives. So as long as you're going to qualify for their incentives, it's worth doing. If you're not going to qualify for them, it's supposed to kind of raise a red flag to say maybe we shouldn't be doing this.
Okay, and we'll get to incentives later.
Sure.
All right, so they look at your house, they put together a kind of an idea of how many cells you would need and that sort of thing. Okay, so then what happens then?
Then we would set up an appointment. Myself or another outside sales rep would come in and meet with the homeowner. We'll initially take a shading report, which is actually this handy device here.
Hold it up to the camera. Randy will get a little. I like to see all the gizmos. It sort of looks like an old cell phone.
I say I turn it on, but it's going to take a minute for it to actually turn on. But basically, what this does, it's a fisheye lens on this device. We face it up and point it to the south. We put in the orientation and the pitch of the roof and where we are as far as city and state. It takes a picture of the sky, and it will. It actually tracks. Sorry, I just turned on. It actually tracks where the sun's going to be throughout the year. So the sun is lower in the sky in the wintertime. It's higher in the sky in the summertime. Typically, people aren't out looking at their roofs in the middle of the winter to see where the sun is hitting. But then it will show us any tree or any object that may cause shade throughout the day and throughout the year.
This is totally fascinating to me. It's like, where's all this information stored? Is this all internet stuff?
From this?
Yeah.
This is actually all just stored right into here. We plug it into a computer, and it's actually a report that we have to send to the state to prove to them that your site has enough sunlight to qualify for solar.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if the cameras can see this, but
zoom in and try. I think you can.
If you can. Again, it's just this grid is where the sun's going to be throughout the year. Up at the you can't probably really see it, but it's got months of the year.
Oh, yeah.
December, so the wintertime, the sun is lower in the sky. The summertime, the sun is higher in the sky, and then throughout the day. And we see here that. Sorry. We see this tree over here is going to cause us some shade, mostly in the winter months. But this is a really good site, a very highly qualifying site, and it is at about 90% of what they would consider kind of solar access.
So you go out and
the
evaluate the site.
I go out and evaluate the site first. Again, make sure that you get enough sunlight and that we can prove to the state that you do, and then we'll go through a kind of a presentation and a proposal. We think it's very important that people are educated on how solar works. So we go through probably a 15-minute short presentation about how solar works. And then we get into specifically for that site what the proposal is, how many panels we can fit or how many panels they may need. Go through the power production versus the home's consumption.
Funny you mentioned that. We have a slide, a couple slides here that, let's pop those up, Jeff, if you will, please. I know that we have some slides, I know. There we go. There's your company, Solar Liberty. Sure. Okay. There we go. All right, what are we looking at here?
That's actually just the, not just, but it's a large project we did for UB. It is 3,200 solar panels. It's a 750 kilowatt system. It was actually designed by an architect named Walter Hood out of California. They did a nationwide search and contest that they held to see who could design the best solar system, and his was considered the Solar Strand. If you fly overhead, it's supposed to look like a DNA helix. So they didn't want to just do your average ground-mounted system. They wanted to make it the centerpiece of their campus.
Fantastic. So, okay, how about the next slide? Because the next slide, what's that?
Sorry, we'll get to it. But this is okay.
There we go.
There we go. This is this is a diagram showing how solar works. So as you can see, the solar panels up on the roof, and you can see that it says there it's a grid-tied solar system, or PV, which is photovoltaic. The first thing I like to point out to people is that we are still connected to the utility grid, so the utility meter is still going to be on your home.
So we don't cut the cord with the national grid or anything like that?
No, we don't cut the cord yet. So if you want to go back to that,
leave that up for a bit.
The panels on top of the house there, they produce DC electricity, which we don't use in our home. So the first thing we have to do is pass it through the next component, which is called an inverter. The inverter is kind of the brains of the operation. It's going to convert that DC electricity over to AC, which we do use in our homes. And it's going to match what you currently have coming in from the grid.
Now, where do the brains go? Is that down near your electric panel in your house?
They're actually, all the inverters are rated for indoor or outdoor use. So it is on the diagram, for the diagram purposes, it is on the outside of the house, so we can show it.
Sure.
It's typically something we would put in your basement by your breaker panel.
So this is another panel that goes with an existing panel.
Yeah, and it's about 1 foot by 3 feet, and it's basically just a small transformer.
So please tell me this isn't a do-it-yourself kit that I have to do myself.
No, absolutely not. So Solar Liberty is a turnkey solar installation company, meaning we're going to take care of everything from A to Z. The incentive through New York State, we'll have, if we're putting it on your roof, we'll have a structural engineer come out and actually make sure that your roof is strong enough to hold the added weight of the panel. We'll take care of what's called an interconnection agreement with the utility company. They're actually going to come out and switch out what meter you currently have on your house for what's considered a net meter or a bidirectional meter. That's basically a two-way valve, so that it can measure. We haven't gotten to that part of the diagram yet, but what's coming and what's going. So we need to kind of have to be in cahoots with the utility company. They have to agree to this, which they're usually not an issue.
Right.
They're very easy to work with these days. So. We'll also take care of the building permits. Again, really everything.
So I just sit back in my lounge chair and watch you guys work.
You sign up, and we'll take care of the rest.
I had a question that popped up earlier. Somebody must have tweeted us. Again, it's not a do-it-yourself thing, but if there's an issue, do you have electricians or technicians, I don't know what you call them, that come out and take care of things for you?
Yep. So we're a turnkey installation company. We've got our own installers. We've got our own electricians.
Okay.
We've got our own engineers. Everything that we do is in-house.
Okay. All right. We have another slide, I believe, that further looked into this, I think. Oh. Different types. That goes along with what you were talking about.
Yeah, and you know what? Can we actually go back to the last slide?
Yeah.
Just to kind of finish this up. So from the inverter, we plug right into the main breaker panel of your house.
Okay.
So anything that the panels are producing at any given time is coming directly into your house for immediate use. Anything that we may be producing extra that your house doesn't need, we'll take that extra electricity and send it back out onto the grid, which is what that net meter would be for that the utility company will put on. Anything you send back out onto the grid is essentially spinning that meter backwards. It's counting credits that are owed back to you. So if you produce more electricity during the day than what you need, if you're not home, you're at work, you come home at night and turn the lights on, you'll have credits that you've built up during the day that you'll use rather than having to pay an electric bill. Which in an annual picture, we would overproduce all summer long so that we could use those credits through the winter.
All right, let me put that in a different way. So basically, During the summertime, the sun obviously is, well, most of the time the sun. Lately, I'm not so sure. But, well, for instance, like a day today, it's going to be cloudy, so maybe you're not going to be producing that much sun. But yesterday was brilliant, so we're cranking up the what do you call it, watts?
The kilowatt hours.
Kilowatts. The kilowatt hours, we're producing. We're using electricity as we go along. But then if we're not using the electricity, it's actually going back to the grid, and somehow this meter keeps track of the extra. And somebody in a little office is saying, okay, Doc, you've got an extra 5 kilowatts or whatever.
Yeah, and you can check what your bank of credits is a couple different ways. Your meter will actually, it's a digital meter, but it will literally count backwards when it's producing more than what the house needs. Also, you'll see a new line item on your electric bill that will show you your credits. So over the summertime, if we've sized the system to 100% of your annual usage over the summertime, you'll see credits build up and build up.
So you're banking credit.
Yep. And then in the wintertime when we don't have as much sunlight, instead of having an electric bill to pay, you'll watch your credits deplete and they'll cover your electric bill for you.
Now, the question that people always seem to ask, or they will comment, is, I don't know what a kilowatt costs. I can't remember. I mean, us today, do you know what a typical kilowatt costs?
From the utility company?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, and they bill you by kilowatt hours.
So what would be one?
We see anywhere from 10 cents to 20 cents per kilowatt hour.
And then when we credit it, it's not the same though. It's less.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 credit. So as long as you're using your electricity as long as you're using your credits as electricity, it's worth retail. If you overproduce on an annual basis, the electric company will actually write you a check and give you back what you overproduced at 12 months.
At retail?
At wholesale rate.
So that's where I'm going. What's the wholesale rate?
So we have what we would call an anniversary date. It's basically a true up date once a year that you're able to set with the utility company. So we typically set that in March or April. In the springtime when the sun starts becoming a little bit more intense and is out for longer, that's usually when we start overproducing. That's when we want to set our anniversary date so that we can bank all those credits that we're going to build up in the summer, use them throughout the rest of the winter, and hopefully, hit 100% of your electric usage right on the head.
So let's go back to my question about wholesale, because I don't want people. Well, I guess I don't really care, but I do want to get the information out. Is you're not going to make millions on this?
Yeah, no, you're not going to. You're really.
It's not a big money maker. It's a money saver.
Right. It's not designed, and the incentives aren't designed to allow you to overproduce much more than what you use. So when we submit an application for the New York State incentive, we have to prove to them that this is within 110% of what they used in the past year.
Okay.
And if it's higher than that, and not to say it can't be higher than that, but there needs to be a reason why.
Okay, and so when the electric company, the National Grid, whomever, pays you this check, they're paying you a couple cents on a kilowatt hour as opposed to the retail of 10 cents?
Yeah.
Just for example.
Right, and that's once a year. So if at the end of that 12-month period you have an overproduction, they'll give you, typically the wholesale rate of electricity is about 3 or 4 cents per kilowatt hour.
And that's the point I'm trying to make, because people will always hear these guys, other companies, I don't know who they are, I'm just telling you what I hear. They'll say, oh, you can sell your electricity back to the grid and you're going to make all this money. You're not going to make a lot of money.
No.
That's not the concept.
Right. This is here to take care of your needs and only your needs. It's not. It will save you a bunch of money over the course of time, but the utility company's not going to write you thousands of dollars a check.
We got a phone call. You want to take a phone call? I have no idea who it is. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning. This is really cool. I've always had an interest.
Well, of course it's cool.
Panels. I guess I got two questions though. I got all this solar panels on my roof. What's the weather going to do to it? Is it going to damage it?
What weather?
Being in this area. And the second question I'm going to ask is, right now the government's given a lot of incentives to do, turn your house over solar. Are they going to tax the heck out of us? Is it going to raise your property taxes so that
good question.
Actually,
excellent question. I hadn't thought of that.
It doesn't really make sense, or will they sort of leave the taxes alone for now? And I'm just wondering, the value, if it's going to make sense to buy it, or are they going to get us with high taxes and high property values after? And I'm going to hang up and let the guys talk.
Okay.
All right. So I'll answer your first question first about the weather.
Okay.
Is the weather going to damage it? These panels are very rigid. They're meant to be out in the elements for a long period of time. The warranty on a typical panel is 25 years.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So with this last November storm we had in Buffalo, and I know that you guys felt it a little bit down here as well.
Oh yeah, mostly the cold.
We didn't have anything damaged in under 6 feet of snow. So that's one reason we do structural engineering. The panels are rated for hail at 1 inch in diameter at 60 miles an hour. An average human could go and walk on them. I'm a bigger guy. I'm probably not gonna test that out.
Don't mess.
But yeah, they're very strong. They're meant to be out in the elements for a really long time.
Okay.
The other question about incentives and property taxes, New York State made everybody in the state property tax exempt with a solar installation. Now,
for the moment,
for certain municipalities and school districts and stuff like that, they have the opportunity to opt out of that. Meaning that we're not going to allow you to be tax exempt. So it's very specific for where exactly you live, whether or not they're going to add property tax. But for the most part, almost everybody in the state is property tax exempt for this, and it's a 15-year exemption.
Okay.
So it's not going to raise your property taxes. It is going to, however, add resale value to your home.
We've been talking about incentives all over the place here. So let me see if I can frame this for us. So let's say someone's now interested in buying a system, and they've understood everything you have to say, and it goes through all that sort of thing. How do the incentives work?
Well, we have 3 incentives currently that we're working with. The first one is an upfront incentive from NYSERDA, which is the New York State Energy Research Development Authority. They do a lot of energy efficiency incentives for your home. So they have a lot of different programs that they offer. One of them specifically is for solar. They offer a specific dollar amount per watt. So based on the system size that you're having installed, they'll give you an upfront incentive.
Okay.
That incentive comes to us. As of right now, that incentive is at 70 cents per watt that we have installed. So on an average size system, we'll say 7 kilowatts, they're going to give us $4,900.
Okay.
So that comes directly, we'll take care of that in-house. We'll take that, the customer doesn't ever have to
comes off the top.
It comes right off the top. They don't ever have to really deal with that. That leaves us with a contract cost. So we have the gross cost minus whatever we're getting from NYSERDA. It leaves us with what's due at the time of installation.
Okay.
Different companies do different things. We don't ever charge a down payment or a deposit or anything like that. That contract cost is what is due once the installation is complete, up and operating.
Okay.
Once that is paid to us, and there's a lot of different financing options as well, there are 2 tax credits. So there's a state tax credit,
New York State,
which is a 25% state tax credit. It is capped at $5,000. And then there is a federal tax credit, which is uncapped, and that's 30%. So these tax credits are actually the only thing that we don't help with. We're not tax professionals.
And you would get that the following tax year.
You would get that back in your income tax return.
And then you would get it back somehow if you're eligible.
Exactly. So we always recommend that people go talk to whoever's doing their taxes. Make sure that you can get this money back, because it's typically $5, $10, $15, $20,000. You want to make sure that you have the tax liability and that you're able to get that back. If you're not able to get it back all at once, you do have 5 years to take the state tax credit, and you've got 20 years to take the federal tax credit. So,
okay, take a breath. We have another caller.
Okay.
Good morning, caller.
Well, good morning. This is Linda Spalding. Good morning,
Linda.
Ryan. Good morning, Doc. It's so great to hear all about the solar energy. I think it's just a wonderful means of utilizing our natural universal forces.
All right.
And I'm seriously thinking of getting some kind of help with that too, because I understand you can put posts up and all of those things. It doesn't have to be attached to your roof. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, there's a few different ways that we can mount them. There's actually two ways that we can do rooftops. One being a flat roof. And there's the different types of mounting systems. So that first one on there is a flat roof ballasted system, really just being held down by weight or like small cinder blocks. That's actually a racking that one of our owners has his own kind of subdivision of Solar Liberty. It's called Dino Racks, and he makes his own racking system. It sets the panels at a 10-degree pitch. We can face them directly south. It allows for really maximum use of the space and still getting good power production. The next one down there is a pitched roof mounting, which is what we most typically use, especially on a residential home. The panels actually get mounted onto the roof. There's about 4 or 5 inches of space between the panels and the roof. It allows for airflow, any precipitation debris.
Or then you have
kind
the
of fall
ones
off.
down on the ground, looks like.
And then there's two different types that you can put on the ground. So that first one that you see there is what we consider a top of a pole mount. It's an 8-inch, 14-foot pipe that goes 7 feet into the ground, set in concrete, and the panels are placed on top of that. The neat thing about that application is that you can actually adjust the panels for different seasons of the year, different times of the year when the sun is at different angles. So you can get about 10 to 12% more power production with that. And then the bottom one there is what we would consider a ground-mounted system. It's a little bit less expensive than doing the pole mounts, but it sits at a static 30-degree pitch facing directly south. So if you don't have viable roof space, we can put them on the ground for you. And if you've got both options and you want to see both options, we're happy to show you whatever it is that you want to see.
There you go, Lynn.
Oh, that's terrific. Oh, that is very, very terrific. And I've been waiting for something like this to really blossom.
It's taking off. Hey, Lynn, we just got a couple minutes. Is there anything you want to tell us?
I just want to say that I'm calling for the Office for the Aging, that we do have services for seniors, and we have computer training, and also there are some positions that are opening up with our senior employment program. Okay. And the number is on the screen, 753-4471. And thank you very much, and have a great week.
Have a lovely weekend. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, Linda.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, Ryan, remember when we first started the show, I said this is going to go fast? We're down to 1 minute and like 45 seconds here. So we've been talking with Ryan Calalesina from Solar Liberty, and he's going to share a couple more thoughts with you folks. And how about your website one more time, phone number, and anything else you want us to know?
Sure. You can reach us at solarliberty.com. There's a lot of information on there, so it should answer a lot of your questions. Feel free to give us a call. We're always happy to help however we can. Our phone number is area code 716-634-3780.
Oh, there's your 800 number right there, it looks like.
Or you can call the 800 number.
They're fast here. They do this. Okay, great. And Ryan, there's something called the carrier cost that you mentioned. What is that?
A carrier?
Oh, on your bill.
Okay, so your basic service charge. So if we are able to cover all of your annual electric usage for you, kind of shown in this graph here, this would we're in this example, we're overproducing during the summertime, using that overproduction, those credits during the wintertime. This would leave this customer with no electric bill. The only thing that you're always going to have to pay, unfortunately, is the basic service charge through the utility company. That allows them to do maintenance on the lines and stuff like that. We are still using their grid, okay. So we believe that's still fair, but it's typically about $15 to $17.
Okay, and so there you have it, folks. You can look further into solar energy if you're interested. I'm Doc Hamels. My guest has been Ryan Calalesina, and we've been talking about Solar Liberty, solar energy. Stay tuned next week. I have another great program for you. Have a lovely weekend. Take care, be well, and we'll see you all next time.